let's be
I think they've exhausted diplomatic solutions.
Yes, we wanted a peace deal with Egypt, and when they finally made one in 1978, we've kept that peace ever since. And we gave
So what about the invasion of Iran has exhausted diplomatic solutions? I'm not done. Because my point's very specific. My point's very specific. I'm just the whole time. Let me finish. Let me finish. We're in agreement on Egypt. It's completely justified. I'm giving you that.
I'll take it, but I haven't
finished. Justified.
I accept your concession, but I haven't finished. So here's an addition. The position, number one, the Palestinians did not accept the partition plan. They could have had a country at that point.
But the reason, do you know why they didn't accept it?
Obviously.
They didn't accept it because they still got 45% of the land with 2/3 of the population. And they didn't get the choice pieces of the land. That's why they didn't take it. Oh, so we don't have history books now. We don't have history books about the divide. You say that
You can't find
and Jordan was getting it entirely.
You might be a fucking screwed up. I'm not a fucking. What are you talking about?
He's lying about partition plan. Or better yet, he's not talking about why was rejected.
The Arabs rejected the partition plan. And by the way, what you've forgotten is that
we all know that the British were working on your behalf from the beginning.
Correct.
So when the British developed the partition plan, it was with your benefit. Anybody can go look at the partition plan proposed, right? You can see how it was a hodgepodge of locations, right? But he denied that.
And because you're illiterate, because you were dropped on your head, you did not know that Jordan was part of the original mandate of Palestine, and it was taken off.
You mean Transjordan? You mean Transjordan?
No, I mean Jordan.
It was called Transjordan back then. It was called Transjordan back then.
Let's go back. Yes, I'm talking about what is Jordan today. It went entirely to the Arabs. There's somebody who's not from there, who's from Saudi Arabia, King Abdullah. But let's go back to...
What does that have to do with the part
blown you away on that matter? Because the partition plan included that.
Doesn't mean it wasn't fucking unfair, dum-dum. How does that make it?
Could you just focus on
Jordan? But the Arabs got all of Jordan. So they didn't get less than the Jews, they got much more.
So you're saying that the Arabs didn't contest that they got less than the population?
They didn't.
They didn't? Oh, so all they have to do is say, how much land were the Arabs appropriated during the partition plan? How much land were the Arabs appropriated during the British partition plan?
They got 22 countries.
The 1947 UN partition plan allocated approximately 42 to 45%. What did I say? 44? My bad. 42 to 45%. I was off by a percent. Historical Palestine for Arab states, totaling about 11,500 square kilometers. Okay, great. So you got 45%. It was still 2/3 of the population that only got 45% of the land. I said
Jordan was part of Palestine. The Arabs got all of it. There was no country called Jordan concrete.
Total land division. Plan assigned 55 to the Jewish state, despite them only 7% of the land at the time. So guess what? Partition plan just 10% of the land. And then somebody says, here's this
Khartoum conference.
Congratulations. And you don't think that the Arabs should be complaining about that. The Arabs shouldn't be upset that here comes these assholes who just got here 50 years ago, and now they own 56% of the land. Got it. Great deal.
Wouldn't even let the Jews have that. The Arabs all of the land, and they wouldn't even let the Jews have a little tiny sliver the size of New Jersey. Which is
What a piece of
but
shit.
we're willing to accept.
What a literal piece of shit.
Listen, shit.
Look at this.
Go back and read your history.
You are a oddity.
Okay. Now
You are a fucking circus animal, bro. We didn't even know that people like you exist, bro.
You know what?
Disgusting.
There's a lot of us, and we're
You reek.
disgusting, racist piece of garbage.
That's why your whole country's been under siege since its inception. Because you're such good people.
We're happy to do
Constantly at war every fucking day
We love
for
winning.
fucking decades after decades after
It's
decades.
something by the can't do.
You love winning.
Yeah,
You abuse the Palestinians, and look at you now. Look at you now. You're disgusting. You're horrible.
Crush them because we keep getting stronger each time. Now let's go back to 1967.
That's why everyone
The
eats.
problem
You
with
don't even want to live there.
Normal.
Let's
No,
go back
normal.
to 1967.
Normal. Can we just move on to the... Let me just move on right now.
I've been waiting about.
I've been waiting a long time. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
had one point to make about 1967.
Hey, go ahead, buddy.
We can go to Iran. The point that I
go
wanted
ahead.
to make was that the Arabs
My
used
watch.
to negotiate.
Not on my watch. Start your statement, and I'm gonna start in the middle of your statement. Go ahead.
Decide that they want to support impeachment.
No, you're gonna cry today. Today you're gonna cry. Today you're gonna cry.
Obviously, you know, the Senate to convict. But what if they impeach him and Vance and go after both of them and charges against both? The next in line to run the country is the Speaker of the House, which would be a Democrat at that point. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah,
Can someone tell me,
Yeah,
Matt, just how that would fly?
yeah, it's a Keith Jeffries and why.
He would be our president, correct?
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to have the Republicans do that now, how extreme Jeffries is. So.
Well, but what if, which would be, so, I mean, it would be a question.
There's only a few Republicans that will push back against Trump, and they're this. I don't
Right,
even
but
think
you-
dumb enough to do that.
Do you understand, is this basically what I just laid out? There's a potential that something like that could happen?
It could, but I mean, I can't help it if Trump does unpopular shit. I mean, that's like, what can I do about that?
I don't even know, how do you impeach Vance though? Like you do the same procedure?
I guess it would be the same procedure, right?
Do you do
I don't know.
back impeachment?
We're-
I mean, that,
What
the
British government
said Sir John
Thompson to
Agnew just
Palestine to make a
resigned,
special
right? And Nixon appointed
yeah,
someone else.
he just moved on. Yeah.
He just moved on. I mean, to my knowledge, I don't know of another VP, but I would think there is the same procedure because remember they wanted to impeach Mayorkas. I mean, they wanted to impeach people in the cabinet. So I don't know. Constitutionally, I don't know the answer other than the third in line is the Speaker of the House. Who would change? It would be Jeffries,
Well, I mean,
assuming he won.
I think one of the biggest travesties is that there's perhaps if there's going to be an actual regime change, which I'm going to say I think that sounds like 99% bullshit to me. I guess he would have redeemed himself. Other than that, I really feel sorry for JD Vance and Marco Rubio that they got. That their name would have been dragged through the mud with Trump, and you can tell like Vance has been really fucking quiet since this started.
No, hang on. Let me finish my fucking
I
argument.
do think that there's been what's been speculated for months is that a lot of the infighting you've seen on the right, what it ultimately has to do with is JD Vance. They do not want him to be the they don't want him to be like the front runner for presidency in 2028.
Right, Pepe, but if they're gonna find allegations, they're gonna go after the administration, including Vance. I mean, there's besides all the personal dealings, that they'll claim with Trump and his family and not creating the Chinese wall there, they're gonna go after acts of the administration. So I don't know. I'm just throwing that out as a crazy possibility. I hear you, but just think about the fallout from that.
I mean, I shot you a message. This was about you can read that.
Okay.
Some special forces. What one of them said, validated through a few people that I know that were the same as he was, and said it's an absolute truth, and you can go ahead and read it. And that's the way they feel about what you're just talking about. So, not a good sign for anybody to.
What were they saying?
He's saying that Vance is gonna lose because he speaks like a loser edgelord.
Vance ain't gonna. He ain't gonna get the. He won't get it. It'll be Rubio or something.
Vance is gonna.
Why do you think it won't be?
It's
okay, all right. Why do you say that? But okay, but I was asking him the fucking question.
You asked me a question.
No, I was asking.
Wait, don't be so horrible, Pepe. I'm trying to tell you something.
Oh my god! All right, so
Vance is gonna. Wait. Vance is gonna lose because he's a loser edgelord like you, and a fag. And he's gonna lose to Nobody wants to listen to incels like Tucker Carlson types and everything other than that. Vance is gonna lose.
How many hundreds of millions does he have, or is he gonna forget? He's not a bad-looking guy, I wouldn't think. He's got the celebrity part down.
Like I said,
I'm pretty sure he can get. I don't think that's his problem.
Yeah, I said edgelord.
That's not what an edgelord is. An edgelord. I don't think you know what an edgelord is. It's a very specific type of personality. It's almost always. No, it's not like Tucker Carlson.
It's a Tucker Carlson type of special retard. And
no, he's literally not an edgelord.
Have you noticed Vance is going down in the polls because his special relationship with Tucker Carlson and the fact that he has Tucker Carlson's son in his administration, all the thing.
That's not why he's down in the polls.
For specific reason. You watch when it comes to 2028. Vance is gonna lose to Rubio. Nobody wants Vance because facts like you support him for retarded. That's it.
All right. Thank you for wasting several minutes of my time. But no, I was asking Ice. What is this information you were hearing about Vance?
No, it's not about Vance. It's about what would happen if they impeach the president and a certain section of people that would take exception to that due to their oath, basically. So if they feel that it was done basically for partisan politics, that there would be action taken. So
I don't even want them to impeach him, and I despise the guy. I don't want them to impeach him because I think it's gonna look like a fucking charade. They've done it the first time, the second time, doing it the third time. You just want to look stupid. So they should just let him do his 4 years. And my biggest fear is impeaching him and having this idiot Vance go in there. I'd rather, even though I totally diss Trump, I don't want Vance to go in there. I don't. So Trump, he can keep fucking up for the next 2.5 years, I think. Yeah, we'll figure out a way to deal with it and cope with it, but yeah, let him stay. No Vance.
I think it's just gotten too extreme. Like I just wouldn't want. This to become the new normal.
yeah, politics has become way too divisive. The left and the right are they're begging for a more moderate party to come along right in the middle right now. Both sides. When they do the pollings, it's very heavy on the left. I forget, it was overwhelming. They wanted the party to come back to the center. And say right, that most people don't want a far right, then I would love to see people that can sit down and really negotiate and try to solve problems again, because right now they don't. We got a bad Affordable Care Act. Let's just leave it, because we're both going to act like children and not want to talk and try to resolve something and make something better, because everybody's got to claim we did that. Our side did that. Now, how about we sat down together as adults and figure out a way to make it work? There's nothing that the government gets involved with that goes well. From healthcare, to jails, to hell, freaking look at the laws they passed.
Hey, how do you guys feel about all the hundreds of millions of dollars that Trump's family is making? I mean, he's been in the presidency for about a year and a few months, and his family has already made over close to $2 billion. What are your thoughts about that?
First of all, do you have proof that the income's been made? I mean, it's interesting. I think it's across the board, Ben. I think that you look at people like Elon Omar, and then all of a sudden is worth $30 million, or some of the squad members like AOC. Look at Schumer. Look at Pelosi and her net worth. I mean, I think it's both sides have increased their net worth while they're in government. I don't think it's a good thing, but I think it's on both sides, and you have to call it out on both sides. Are you okay to do that?
Oh yeah, of course I will. But I think, yeah, of course I'll call it out on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's some rotten apples. How did Pelosi get as rich as she got? You have to call it out on both.
From insider trading.
How did Schumer get these people? How did Biden? So Joe Biden was a prosecutor. He didn't come from wealth. He lived in a house in Hocus, Delaware, and during his years in the Senate, okay, all of a sudden amasses like money, wealth, and then becomes a VP. So he's in public office and becomes a multi-millionaire. Explain. Where's that money come from? How's that happen?
How many books did you buy? I don't know how much it is.
From books?
I'm just
I don't
asking.
think so.
Because I know they advanced them a couple $1 million when they, at least when they're at that level and publish books.
While he was in office, you're talking?
I don't know. I haven't done it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I'm saying. I don't mind you calling it out, but you gotta call it. It's like a virus throughout government, and definitely on the legislative side.
He sold the rights to a future memoir for $10 million. That's a fancy way of saying here's some cash for something.
What year did he do that? Ice?
Let me see if it's got a year on it.
Because he got wealthy, I think, before he did memoirs. I mean, look at that. I mean, I'm just going to say this. Look at the salary you make as a member of Congress or a senator, and then tell me how you...
Yeah, it's like 150 or something. It's like,
Right. How do you amass... How do you get a beach home in Hocus in Delaware, or how do you get the big house? Not in the big house in Hocus, into the beach house in what's the Rehoboth? Like, how'd that all happen? Where'd that money come from? I don't mean to shut you down on what you're saying on Trump, but I think that it should be more global.
under the law,
Is a little too blatant.
They had great wealth. They came in with wealth and businesses. Elon came in with what? How'd she all of a sudden get worth $30 million?
So do you think that if Trump wasn't president?
Okay, he sold his memoirs. He had wealth beyond $10 million before 2025. That's my point. Where'd it come from?
Are you talking for Biden?
Yeah.
Biden?
For Biden.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I said that he.
That's 2020.
2025 to be the money.
He had his beach house in Rehoboth and his big house in Hockessin way before 2025. The salary of a U.S. senator all those years, I mean, add it up. He was in private practice at a decent firm in Delaware. It'd be a shit ton more than that.
Abby, do you know if can the kids of the president make money? I mean, I don't even know how that works.
They have a Chinese wall that he has to separate himself from the investments and from the company, but they can make money. I mean, you can make the Hunter Biden argument that.
Exactly. So Trump is directly making money. I don't think you can link that to him in any form. I mean, I don't know where you can go find it, I guess, but now his kids are definitely making money, and that's not illegal.
No, but you guys crucified Hunter Biden for making a couple, Is it hundreds of thousands of dollars and tens of thousands?
His son,
Don Jr., he partnered or he invested in a drone company, which at the time he invested in the drone company was valued at $200 million. Then, some way, he was able to get a $600 million contract with the federal government. Now the drone company is valued at $2 billion. Then Kaushi and advising Polymarket, they're building like hotels. And, okay, for example,
you know the funny thing is you can't prove it. The funny thing is you can't prove it. That's why he left his life. No, but the thing is you can't prove it because I've heard this.
Trump is not invested in the drone company. That was a lie.
It's not the first time I've heard this before. The funny thing is you can't prove it. You can't fucking prove it. You just lie.
Where is he from?
You're like a Palestinian.
Okay. You now shut up.
You can't prove it. You just lie. You expect people to believe what you're saying. You can't prove it. Just put it in the chat.
Girlfriend, can you go stay with your girlfriend or something like that? Please. Okay.
Bro, get the fuck out with your thing and go talk what you want to do. But you can't prove it. You just lie. Put it. It's not true. It's like it's false.
$5 billion to invest in his funds.
Fake news.
So in his defense, when he's talking about Trump and the money that they've made in office, so Trump was inaugurated on January the 20th. Let me see. So it looks like Trump did launch a meme coin.
No, not the 20. Not 20. You're talking about not 2020. He said the 20th of January, right?
January 20th, yeah, 21st.
Oh, so what he's saying about as far as Trump family making like a shitload of money. So Trump did launch a meme coin a few days right before he took office, and most of that money went to, I think he may have some stake, or that his family may own the World Liberty Financial Group. So that meme sold over 550 tokens. So when you're looking at those similarities and you're looking at all of this shit as like, and it's totally fine for them to make money, but if Joe Biden got in office, if
That's owned by the UAE, by the way.
Jesus, Mom, can you guys have this guy just keep quiet?
No, because you guys just keep lying, bro. You just keep lying. Just tell the truth.
So if Obama or if Joe Biden would have got in office and promoted a meme coin or a Bitcoin that was sold through their financial group, it would have been a problem.
But Trump didn't do that. Trump never advertises it.
It never happened.
No, Trump never, not one time, ever did anything with it. That's the difference. We're saying other people could do it, other people on his behalf. That's the point. Otherwise, you're right. You'd be probably in big trouble. You can't just sit there going, "Oh, I got this meme coin. Everybody buy it at the like a press conference." We can't be doing that,
So on the drone thing that he was talking about, his son bought in late 2024. He does sit on the board. They had defense contracts prior, and afterwards he had to remove himself from negotiations for procurements of any contracts with the defense companies. So that's where it's at. So they had to go in and bid and try to get it with negotiations without Donald Trump Jr. being involved. And people can say, well, he still gets the influence because he's there. Well, okay, let's see it. Hey, I'm all with everybody. I didn't think Kristi Noem should have been paying herself to be in the damn DHS. I get that people pay themselves all the time for being in stuff like that, but in my opinion, there was things she did I didn't agree with. You don't give it to somebody just because you worked with them. You're helping to start a company that you worked with before because you worked with them in South Dakota. You say, okay, we'll help. I'd love to, but you got to beat their, I'm not going to give you their price, but you got to be cheaper than them. Then I would have been fine with it. But the fact that she paid more to a company that she worked with, I was completely against that.
Some of it,
If this company did that, then so be it.
some has to be put in perspective too, like some of the resort developments, in Saudi, there's 35 hotels going in one like of their master plan cities alone. And there's like every major hotel chain and developers going in doing golf courses and doing, different resort developments. from Ritz-Carlton and Hilton and like some of the companies out of big European hotel chains, but the Four Seasons Peninsula, and just go through them. So for him to do a resort project there where many companies are going in, like everyone wants to single it out, oh my God, they're doing business in the KSA, but so is everybody else. So, at what point does his hotel company that his kids run have to not do business around the world? Because every country they work in could be construed that he has a relationship with them. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just...
Yep. I mean, in an ideal world, I agree. I don't think any family should be profiting at this point. They're there to serve at the pleasure of the people, really, at this point. They call it a day. I agree, but
the whole family isn't there to serve. But I don't think that they should be allowed to attend to certain things. Once you're in, once they're there, let's just say once Donald Trump was elected, they should. This goes back for me. I've held this line for decades. If you're elected, you, your immediate family, and people who are close to you, which they can monitor all that, should not be making suspicious investments in defense companies. Sorry, it's a no. You have a relationship with this person, you could have inside information. Sorry, it sucks to be you, but you can't invest in these deals because they're your friend, your brother, your son, your daughter, your uncle is voting on a contract for NVIDIA to get government grants or whatever it is, So to me, no, they shouldn't be allowed. He shouldn't be. Nobody in Congress, nobody in politics should be. Anybody that has inside information. Hell, Martha Stewart went to freaking jail for it. Let's be real. And then you have politicians who we should hold to a higher standard in that regard. But instead, if you look at their path too, they've always made money. But if you look in the last decade, the level of money they made has gone up just astronomically. Through COVID was ridiculous. And I'm saying one person gets across the board.
So another question, because I gotta go put my kids to sleep soon. It's bad to sleep. Do you think Trump's priorities, like these days, are what he actually campaigned at? Because a lot of times I see him talking about his ballroom, the arch he wants to build, like doing all the whole not America first, but every other country first. What else? He's not focusing on the grocery prices or inflation or everything he promised he was going to do. Do you think his priorities today reflect what he campaigned on?
I believe he's the same as every president before. You have teams that are dealing with all of that. I love when these guys go on, and Scott said he was just destroyed. I don't remember who it was. Was it that might have been MSNBC? I remember the gal's face. I don't remember her name, but she tried catching him on something, and he just leveled her with the facts. And it's just like they've got people working on all of that. We know they're going to take a short-term hit in these things, but you get it. You keep letting the bad guy keep building a force, they become more of a problem. So you take the lump in the short run. But damn it, I'll tell you what we need to do is get liquid natural gas going. Why are we not using it? It's clean energy, way cleaner than coal, way cleaner than oil. We would be the freaking world #1 exporter of it. We import it. You drive through the Midwest and you literally see towers out in the fields burning 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, just burning it. That's how much we got. Now, look at the infrastructure and building it. How many jobs can we create? Hell of a lot of jobs. How much for people if they invested in the infrastructure? That's where you invest first. Later you invest in the gas, but you invest in the infrastructure building of it because that's where all the money goes in. We could literally have so much cash. They went down and asked the people, because where we export it, they said, well, wait, they say it's, or we import it. They said, well, why can't we export it? They say it's dangerous. What's the difference in the process? The guy looked at the person on the camera and goes, the way you turn the valve. And they go, yeah, but why is it more dangerous? It's not. He says the valve turns. You flow that way or you flow this way. The process is exactly the same. So that was a BS claim. Why has not one single president? Now, I'm going to say this. Trump said he was going to open it up, and he didn't. Why are they holding back natural gas? Big oil? Probably. Or is there another reason? They want to get their mitts into it. But the bottom line is natural gas should be flowing. We should be exporting natural gas to everywhere around the world. Point being, where do you think prices would be if we had stuff like that to help?
Who did you ask that question, Ice? I don't think anybody even.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't hear you.
I didn't even know who you asked that question. My biggest concern is I just want this Iranian regime to go. It's been here for 47 years. It's terrible. I mean, I can look like people. My friends in the United States are like, "Oh, gas prices are like $4 in California," but it's in Brisbane in Australia at the moment. It's like $9. It's double. You know what I mean? So people in California are bitching about $4 and it's $9 here. So it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like in Europe, they pay by the liter and it's expensive, yeah.
Yeah, like a gallon. A gallon in Brisbane, Australia at the moment, it's $9. Tomorrow it's gonna be $9.80 US dollars a gallon. So it's like, oh well, yeah, oh, so terrible. Everything is it's just so fucked up and everything else like that. But we're just like, bro, you gotta get rid of these terrible terrorist people. These people are sick people. They've been there for so long. So it's like when people are just like, oh, they're just like, oh, $4 a gallon is so bad. And I just look at my phone like crying. I'm just like, I wish mine was $4 fucking dollars a gallon. You know what I mean? But it's like $9 a gallon. So what the fuck am I supposed to do, Ice? Huh? Tell me. So like these people, they don't even know what they're talking about, man. You know. And the wages are not so different between the U.S. and Australia. It's not so much different. So they're horrible. And I'm like, I'm at $9, soon I'm going to be at $10 a gallon. I'm saying it in American terms because that's how, you know, I won't say in liters because then you won't get it. But look, so what the hell are we supposed to do about it? We want it to go away. I don't give a shit. If I have to pay $13 a gallon to get rid of the Islamic Republic, I'm gonna pay $13, $14, $15. I don't give a fuck. These modern day Stasi, they have to go. These are sick people. They gotta go. I don't care. I don't even give a fuck if the fuel goes to $20 a gallon. These sons of bitches, they gotta go. That's my opinion. You can disagree with me or not, but that's the way I feel.
No, I'm in agreement. I think we got to get the tyrannical. I have zero pride friends that are Muslims, and they're not in any way extremists. They're very cool, down to earth people, no different than me. You're right. They're not going to be. They don't get down on their, carpet and pray 6 times a day. Any of that. They're just people. Now the extremists, they're the problem, and they are a small percentage of it. But that right there is a driving force of it. That's where a lot of resources come from for them. That's where a lot of the explosives, the technology that they use, all of that comes from there. And so to get rid of them, it's worth it at all costs, because here's the deal. The last administration raised our domestic terrorism alert to the highest level ever because they knew what was inside the country. Now, you don't just raise it because you just think it's a fun thing to do. You raise it because you have intelligence that says we could have a problem. So they raised it. And it's still up there because we know it's out there. We've had a few different attacks already. That's minor. If they decide all of a sudden go off one day, it'll overwhelm the system. Imagine, they can start attacking schools. They can do whatever the hell they want. Little kids ain't gonna be able to fight back. did. You tack a
Little
bunch of
kids
different
aren't
schools
gonna
in
be able
one
to
city.
fight back.
Where does your
I'll
emergency
just
services
shit
go?
around.
There's not a department to go to all the different schools. There's just not. Right? These people have said it for 47 years. You said this, AJ. 47 years. They said death to America. Number one is death to America. Number two is death to Israel. They've said it. When people say it, they want it. Look at it in boxing. When somebody keeps saying, I want to kick Mike Tyson's ass, Mike Tyson finally says, let's go. Right? Eventually, you have to try to pop the bully in the mouth, and you do it before he can pop you in your mouth.
Yes, I couldn't be agree with you more. I mean, I only wish that U.S. citizens could, have a deeper understanding of this regime. If they knew that what kind of radically maniac lunatics they dealing with, I'm sure they were all, rooting for the war, and they were asking to end this regime ASAP. But the problem is that these guys never lived under their, rulership, and they never lived in Iran, and they don't understand that what his ideologic regime is like. And when they sing death to America, death to Israel, it is not just, it's not just chanting. They are actually practicing it. That's their wish for the last few decades. They've been preparing for this. They put a clock on the, each in the main square of Tehran, a countdown clock for the day that Israel gonna be wiped off the map. And practicing it, they like funding all the projects, spreading all their terrorist organization bullshit and everything all over the world and all over the region. So this is something that they need to understand, and and they should know that they are not just.
Yes.
They should know that they have a lot of oil money and they spend it all for. I mean, the majority of the oil money goes to their ideology, goes toward the fighting with the U.S. and Israel. That's why people in my country, there is like the poverty, and there are a lot of poor people in Iran right now, especially in like Sistan, Balochistan, Kurdistan, in the border cities. We have a lot of poor people in those areas. And we're talking about a country which is has like the third reserve oil in the world, which is like second or first in terms of the gas. And it's one of, they have a lot of mines, they have a lot of gold and lithium and everything. I mean, the country is very rich. But all that money, where does it go? It goes for the good of Iranian people. It all goes to what they dream is. What is this radical lunatic IRGC and regime ideology? That's where all the money goes to. Ideology. They care about their own people. They are recruiting kids right now. They're recruiting 12 years old for IRGC so they can be in the streets, and if the there was a boots on the ground or a ground invasion, they can, use them to fight against US, or even if there was like a call for Iranian people to come to the streets, they can use those kids to shoot people. This is what the world is dealing with. But unfortunately, what I see is that a lot of Americans have no idea.
No, I agree with you. I happened to be living in Europe at the time when we had a conflict going back and forth with Libya. I literally had to run from my home because of a bomb threat. And I'll tell you, that's the one thing that I've always feared coming to our soil here. People have lived over in the Middle East have lived through chaos for, it's just almost normal. I'm not saying it's not scary, but it's different when it happens the very first time. It's damn scary, and I don't want it here. The ideology is very scary, and it's here. And the sad thing is, you can't sit and dwell on it. You gotta enjoy your lives. But the only time, I don't know how you say it, if it's Savannah or Dana, but when it strikes and it hits home is the only time that it's going to make any sense to anybody. And then the question is going to be this, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong, but the question is going to be like, well, why didn't we prevent this? Why didn't we stop this?
Exactly.
We should have what? Japan? Go look how many Muslims are allowed in Japan. And when they are, they're watched very, very closely.
They won't do it because people are fucking cowards. The politicians care. Like, if you look in Europe,
right.
They care more about not being considered Islamophobic, and they care more about the votes of a bunch of terrorist baby makers, and it's fucking disgusting, really. And people are too comfortable too. In general, I mean, if there was like this scarcity of resources, then people behave way differently.
But there is a scarcity of resources. This is why rents skyrocketed. Down here, I know what.
Oh, when I say no, I get what you're saying, but in other words, people would have to be made to feel very uncomfortable. And in other words, it hurts. That's like the level. Having to have roommates and deal with a bunch of other shit and not being able to own a home, all of that sucks. But it's not. It's not something that's gonna make you like hurt, like in day to day. That is that kind of shit where people really, I think fighting to start.
Yeah. I've had friends that came from Bosnia and they were just young kids. I didn't believe it. Talked to one of their parents, 8 years old. My friend had to strap up and freaking fight a war. I was like, I didn't believe it. I didn't tell him I didn't believe him. I never did. But hearing his parents talk about it, can you imagine what that had to feel like? To be a mom and know that your kids they gotta go. Mommy, they're gonna die one way or the other. They might as well die fighting, right? It's crazy to me that we are so sheltered from all of that in this world. 12-year-olds in Iran. 12. The 12-year-olds here, they're on their freaking PlayStation, That's it. Their cell phone. They would know the first damn thing about trying to be a security force.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's the thing that they need to understand. This regime, Iran is a rich country in terms of all kind of resources, okay? But they even sold, they were selling the soil of Iran to the Persian Gulf countries. Use it to fund the process. All the resources in the country, they look at it as a source of funds for the proxies and for the fight against the U.S. and Israel. That's the way they look at Iran. That's why whenever I speak, I say the regime, Iran is an occupied country. The Islamic regime occupied Iran and took the Iranian as hostages.
Where are you from, if you mind me asking?
From Iran. I just left last year. I lived in Iran for 40 years. I worked,
Okay, so
for more than a decade in Iran. I worked with the government and in different institutes, but then I was like, the system was so corrupted, I couldn't take it anymore.
yeah. So now I was watching, and I don't remember if it was, so I flipped back and forth between multiple stations, but I believe it was on CNN. They had somebody that was hit from a bomb in a hospital that they were talking to over there, an Iranian, and they were saying that it was worth it if they can gain their freedom, right? And that they didn't want to see America stop. They wanted to see the regime change. Now, is that a one-off, or do you believe that that's a more common approach? I saw another one where they talked to a gentleman in his car and they blacked him out and changed his voice for obvious reasons because he was there. And he, like, out his window, you could see where they were striking, and so it wasn't like BS. He's like, no, I'm right. But one-off, or is that?
That's I mean, my own brother, he's in Iran, and he told me that every time that we hear the bombs and stuff, it's very scary at first, but then after a few seconds, we start like cheering, like, oh, thanks God, one more motherfucker is gone. You know, that's the way they look at it, because they're attacking IRGC bases and the checkpoints and stuff like that. So when they hear those sounds and stuff, they at first, of course, it's a natural, human behavior. Be scared. They are the same as well. But then after like a few seconds, he told me like every single time after a few seconds, we are chanting, we are cheering, we are happy that okay, thanks God, the war is not stopped, and they still hitting these bastards. That's the thing. I mean, my wife's brother also, he lives in Tehran. He says the same thing. I spoke with a couple of friends back home. They have the same, idea as well. They also had the same thing. So most of the people that I speak to in Iran, they are cheering for the war, and they are hoping that this war will have a. I mean, at the end, they're hoping that it will result in toppling the regime, and they don't have to be dealing with this IRGC